aka say ye ka omeya manyosem a kwa bin wo mu papa ye ka NPP as a political party a o hyase ntem da so agina mu de bi ye ka say bibi say credibility a some of us you betumi aka say yes or ye credible ye ni mu no ebiri bi abesin ko no general secretary ma NPP amayoku no ensem bi nti ye no to nchen na ba mu amu wanka senti obi a twendin onum say ye mmere ye ma besisa sisan so ampa enti waba so si ahene for NPP for monto aba ma no no ogidi say obetumi so party no na 2028 motumi di nkudim it's a party be edu no ye hia sa type of leadership no na omode akọ oye engineer boko school on fansipim wa bin papa engineer kwa bna jeje pom be mo achi senior bibia boko
namesake nyankopon adom
ede ho ase
edanyame ase say this campaign season ya anti nkaboni bia chinchini Ghana ha nyina it's a very stressful period
yeah
nanso so and then me sorry am tum sa hoden wo I say edanyame ase
ayampa
me fa akonye so achia wotefo nyina ba bi omo bia so platform media so
sure
delegates no so I hope say a lot of them
they wo mu nyina
because you say adwuma we nya delegates ni nyina na otimi hia wo
there be
nti ya na yenya sa akonye ya na ye de kasa ye ato mo anim na ya sire nyankopon say enka ho akoma na emre no so muremfi no mo nto aba ema number 5
okay
ase ho say 2000 sunsum papa bi e ba party mu a yenyina time Mr. Kufuochi say ballot no dase ho kwabna Japan the ball tete no o castle
no so dase ho
ene say me na me dase ho ti de me gidi say nyankopon o hihye niema no na sunsum papa bi a ye hia sesei ye de beko akansie 2028 saa eni die ebuo kasapa enkabom nuado a ye de chichire party a ema no be ye kra behwe no enu nti na me de me ho me bontoa me stre party for me san ka kire wo say baby a ye duri as a political party eniema na ema party no be ye hwama Ghana for beji yetum sa niema na ese san kofa nti na the theme of my campaign NPP going back to our roots because here chichiri kwe ejakwabna na Ghana hana hehu
yeah
wanda military rule mpenimfo no tuo ho che ye adwumaden sam ye nim fifre omku ho me de me beto wo me no om nenam na me abrante medi mfie aduasa nti I feel it a duty sisi amanyini kakra mani afi nchirima na e ba no I consider myself a bridge between the past, the beginning of this tradition in 1992 and the present, and I represent the hope for the future of the party because media have values na ne say beka ho no kra beka say ahwease those days say ishia party na hu ahokeka nkrofo pese ye party adwuma ye musahwe tu kwan nante krom ha wa wodu sika wodu ka 92 de ko faka kra even 96 ko faka we nenso so saa titru nti na me de me kwa me sere party for so this election is not just about say hikuyi akandifo anaso biko e franka it's about the very soul of our party and so the values and the principles are yede anchor the formation of our party ene because the irana as a sign by because I believe both my party MPP and the country Ghana here renewal, regeneration and rejuvenation. Even the way I dream efa politics on my cancer asim ya SSS aye binum say ye politics ma uko we na aye se cake bi a wono party for no mo twitwa no ma chedi that chopping mentality no esi ye free your politics ni ehunu say te said ye two din say politics ye aman yourself see ye be ye oman no ye no ye penkrofo a omo ye public spirited ombe tu omo ache eku omo ho say ye be som oman no. So you go into government say wo som ye nkofom. There's a big difference. It may sound the same as say and so me de niema mesua free me mpanimfo yi ho me didi omo na ase hu say you can public service. It means exactly that, service to the public. Say obesum or minor ne amansan. That should be our pride as Ghanaians. So our patriotism. Tina yempeni for the roach to the new patriotic party. So betimi do one buffering. Obey Jumadea, don't expect anything even in return. Sane the chiche or mine Ghana. Now say individualism. Me, yemfama me, yemfama me and the BBN and say, Sa Subaina abe foreign. And not to me bodero as a party for A214. Because they are the best judges, they know where they are. I mean, they say, your opposition. We all know what happened in 2024. You trim 1 year. Me call me 214. Say, 1 year no you try. Me and Sa Kade see a pro, yempo. Ubicha hard labor nemum aba ombeto no 31st year ye ken eno na be kira say ye san babiu na say ye tena ho cause he has a be leader to say the kind no or ye credible in the eyes of Ghanaians obetimi inspire the youth of this country na omagine di said there be penny there or can someone his word is his bond. Owo suban owo ni die owo buo kasapa nuado ntimi de me de me ho kire wo mo tumi ni omsem na wo omsem na wo ntikakra mesre om ba bi om hwe bia se omunye ne sa man omunye ne sa pa we de nko hwehwe ne ye wura mu akwadu akire pa ye nhwe mami bi sase NPP as a political party mimi hu wonye ne. That's right. Amanfo no sabi no why adwuma krada. Minim what we stand for. The then NPP as a political party and now we name party send an penifo bobo mudia send na system ni sitie ene ne se de sitie no insakrayaba ya ka se wi ase sesa nti wi ase sesa den so a niam so be sesa niam be na to sini awo bo party no ma ogidi se e ka ho bie ama party na kono no akofam eno bi na boboy se yehu se aman yosem itu e ho kyese ye besum oman enye de awu benya menye pesiminkuminya enti se wonye pesiminkuminya na se odo ekuna na wo ye party penia na wonya opportunity se de odi ama me se ye nkasa opese okasa ehoti yenye ko de ene Ghana focus ye kra na ye akrache for ya ye kabro fo dudu ne ye bota ne ye shekut ne ade efise ne ye di ye huni so se wudi huni a won we hwe nyina be kasa papa intimidate politics me bi na mekwa akodom MPP sa suban na wo party mu a sebi Rolling Square betu na no ye sojani a ode ku beje o man ya mfa atutrasem ne hia no ye di nyansa ene kasapa ene ma Ghana fo nya edo mai enye takashi nye boot for boots ye no ntokwa debi moja hwiego ne niema emfata enti yama party no su no asesa se obi ye party penny na kasa obeka wa bonten wote a wokra we party ni na wo ye mo ahyew na se obi onye party ni na se obi a obroni beka se we neutral na o defense so no obe den atwe no abeka ho me dey me opportunity be I want to be an advocate for the MPP say me sorry free hakono na matimi a convert nipa mienu miensa enan bi omo hwen se papa ya me ehu se politics no e ya de papa ebinum person say politics is a dirty game enye dirty game. There are few dirty people in politics, then they try to make it dirty. Intimidate the minim assistant and they say 1992 yeto abawie ya Professor Duwan nyae yen na e part ye follow history no de yen mranti a ye tiku ne friend young executive forum na do no apese PFP ni na win because 1979 ye mu che pa wulinum gina UNC Professor Dubois hen NYB adade aramponsa ye mpanimfo pa o mu nyina wo UNC ena Victor Osu J Kufuor Safo adinum suso e wo PFP na de ye ya ne se nka wo kan e boat ni mienu a nka e biti liman enso so edru run of crowd ye nuanu UNC for kota People National Party echi enti ehye binum nanso so ye hu se sam papa emu no eno na de enkugu by enti by 1992 there was a big attempt to bring everybody together say nyehwe ya enso so enyehwe esi ewie sometimes using the chrome high obi esro wo nyuma egu wo adwane penia otimi kasa ya Ghana ha sheki here breaking the culture of silence. That famous speech the Ghanaian Sphinx delivered by Professor Dubois of British Council. Enti dudu na ye said there be here obi a o akukutu nti eto abama na nsusu ye tu wie na de a safo edu ye ya atena me ho ebesi ne se although say ya defeat de ya na nsusu ono akoma Professor Dubois trinkwa mo amunim ni fie number I think 12 Templesy Lane Airport ranti se medini jam na momwa enti yeto abawie no mante da se we yesa bi nipa we adisi nipa we Kufuor nipa na se suban no ne ho eto aba ne wie nyina de akomapa nua do edi opani nachi ekoto aba ye na anye ye nyina nim e churo stolen verdict ne ade. So that was one big example. That symbol of unity say to aba we are asa. 1998 I'll give you another example. Me na me di na do Dankwa Akufo-Addo campaign. So okay ya. To PN ni perefi. Although no a member of parliament, near 67 members of parliament. Emu mi ensan pe nya akukudro. Say on beta na chi. So okay, Mami Penia no keep Christian Church.
Yeah.
Asante Achim South MP. No ya Asante Regional Secretary. Alex Kweku Kranchi. Any next door neighbor, Etiwa, quantity surveyor. Ya Benin Dako. MPs miensa. Yeah, near Kano. So okay, Mr. Victor Newman. Obey Director of Research and the Presidency. Or no? Brigadier General Nunumensa. No, the Chief of Defense. Sata no ako Stanley wo Winiba. Wo lusu narrowly to Mike Hammer. And I me come Japan. Me krane sebi abrante
na.
And so eda ye launching another campaign wo Usu Presbyterian Church. Me na mpija nsa introduced him to the whole of Ghana. So the next president of the Republic of Ghana. You could do sunwai na Mr. Kufuor dey from city. And so oye dey do boy ye ni. Wan kase yakodi na nado jinti. Me the campaign. In fact, that time na the campaign manager Alhaji Isaka Nusa were defectico NDC into the Jumana she Jacob Bilamtensa. Jake said that frame ni Victor Minman ko ni fie wo cantonments. Mo munim to go run about. Say mampeni say all those come so the Akufo-Addo akola. Then so ye campaign mo ye over the last 8 months amunya vote osunyana. Last 8 weeks because it was a very short campaign. So if you say Ejuma Wayen, a person of the Bebua main campaign. Okay. So I became the de facto director of communications for the campaign and the party.
Even though now one candidate, no
candidate, primaries now main time. Okay. Then so on the sang kabum no buy. To the extent say, yeah, Kotoaba, me no share that's as one. Me say me nkohwe na baso electoral commission man. Tibi na mfa phone friend anajo. Opening Ghana for to about boom amount. You are now the president-elect of the Republic of Ghana. Because I'm saying me, debia me tiwo masum deda e pie with the feel. Even as I sit here, me nkwa nam she electoral commission e wi ase hu nkrofo na jaw matena so sa. So obey president ko you be a say hey go fu compare me to me me hwe na nim kra wanya sa sire se one day kebima men kebino otiase Democrat, a true Democrat, or farmer send a ba etin chain, or castle, press secretary to the president, presidential spokesman. Enti ne nidie, ne do, ne subain, na botre, ne kazapa. All those virtues, no, me didi won nasi ehunye. Eno na me di bomb me bra ibi. Ete bia so nya botre. Because man peni go for when I say when any age I'm say be twice with them who say ni bufu ye no dey me mo so so me can say ne me gina na me catch the party for say omo pe obi a onim party nimu the institutional memory of this party and who has the intellectual capacity to transform this country Ghana, then I think say they have to look at me. So with them sure no. Because even in 2023, say na meka ni patena e ko gina.
Yeah.
E ko to abana me nya bi kese na Dr. Baumia when ya satam krofo kikem na e be show down we sisi mi jaya ko independent we sisi mi nipa na say I was the first aspirant am a bar bonting yeah press interview say mesre party no de yes ani e to abawia na asa abato de enema pitimi si yenkase bibia ekoso bia eye nenso so yenya to abawie no as true democrats no let's accept the results ni emfa kumapa entire the party for dodo no eyi no which was Baumia and to share Ghana menene ko bibia I was sending a message through BNS me phone fresh some of our colleagues say me sremo onu na party eyi no yenyina yemwa na yenhwe se Nyankopon ebe adom na yagitumi so enti se na me ka se me penka bomu a enye vote nti na me ka I have lived that life. I'm the very embodiment of unity in this party. So what them jiro no and as I say unity ni here se sa nipa 2 million na o man koto aba no si yi candidate o mhwe na ka se kwa brand e mfa so to say onu so kan share for fedu wana na tiko ahwe party no enti yeso so a minimpo ne ebufuo ne niema bi nti ya nkoto aba no ye hu na on de be free no sebi eya wa e fam no onka ho enti sa ya no ebeba fom asem a make country party for no ena sesese e be kan kra hwe niema e koso wo party mu minim say na yesi enkosan unity pact but maka say too much water has already passed under the bridge. Yeah. Over the last 6 months, mpenimfo ni bisu ni e ban ye kire o party mu to dey be makoma say ye koto aba ye nipa num den ba ko na be fa
yeah
yinim aba ye koto a unim de beto ama no pose odien yo nipa no anajo ukoda kwamna between time a woni kun na be so no hu de ekoso
David
tire say ye nipa no we don't control ourselves nyame na aboyen enti ubetima so na wadwuna ye say ene de asimesi ne meto ama no enti ye kasa ye ne ye bibia has to be above reproach with a lot of civility. And so me hu pani ba ko betra hasi distract bu nipa bi se we mu de ense emfata sa ne kasa sa pani so uko madina pani bi o a friend Mr. Befi woni pani ba mi fie in 2001 I was press secretary to the president now pa adwuma wa aban and nam se me press secretary to the president me do ko kire mpanimfo bi ambassador Adekye o say otiase sisi a me pagya o ma nya ba bi gina yesi enam edua so na ahoma ye den
ehunu soro
enti obi o papa yenka asem bi enkyere no ti suban bi enipa ne bi yi obi su tim betra nipa bi de o mo kra de emfa o mo nka ho
say bi no we say wo de mamenka eso woni Dr. Duchu de mo nka ho mo nka so mo de mari
mo bebu asantefo nimti ayen kwa so ni asantefo
mo de mari
aka ye ko isusu de party isu de na kuma eni asante ye ku ye ho ama party mo hwe ye ni makasa asem we akire ebu asantefo nimti a na wo de we aspirant ese we show such disrespect to colleagues sana ye no
oti ye ne how
oh hame but me kire say ade bi o say bible me say pride cometh before fall nyankopon pija ho a obre wase sana tie enti se bi me ye penisi e wo party me ka party mu role na me ye penisi won mu ame no mu etu sasa nyina enso me di buoma obia because Jacob na ewiase ye nya nyankopon obia ne destiny say we play football Nancy. Oh, the last kick of the game. Last kick. El Nesri striker on the tattoo on penalty so utuso a oshe or boss Sevilla Spain in those days now. And so we are so in there a can on the crab no Tam de Koma Abraham. He has been their best player in the tournament, top scorer. Oh, this year is no occasionally. So that one kick made the difference.
Ibrahim Diaz.
Me yaman because he ready. Abrante Obedada. The whole nation's hopes was resting on that one kick. A call extra time so baby I didn't could a free woman sir. Into destiny, we are say Ubunim di ABC. Enti omo I know almost started class 1. Ebi tiase ebi ye millionaires se bibi no so enho kire wo sa na wi asete na me yetete me se ma oni mmeri bibi da bibi e friend of spirit of contentment se nyankopon ma ketewa bi a no waso ndi me kakra metima sam anim fifira ye no eno na mani so ti se uti eyiye no se nyankopon pejao nyese bia wa ho odin o we dey kra a lot of it dey political patronage say president ba na ye che poster ye nya exams na ka say wo our defense na ko dey ope na odi to me e man na ebinuma anya akwanya say e ma okwan say besumo man no bi enam so nti wo so wetimi aboabo ankrofo nti you have access to resources na dia eno nche say be buye nimtia ana be kakasa emfata e de kire mpenimfo a ye mpenimfo esen wo nti bi de those are the things I want to say. Yen eseketrema hoyi empro kasa bi o enye se o mani free wonum just because we are doing politics so because we shall say no and someone across over the last 2 weeks especially across the line the red line has been crossed into bringing people together
a bit difficult
very difficult and unless some person be kind of cry I don't want videos ni bi so who be and you think it's going to be easy. And I say, as Ghanaians, you accept BBS, you. It is said the Otona, woman with him now was winning. So, and that's why I said we've allowed a lot of water to pass under the bridge. We did not name and shame because in the say Becano Crow party no be there. Yen can't abide the bottage, you know. As the boba. Nipa be ya de party, but a good party no free ya de. Omo kada. Inti. And then you see and sign. Well, I'll go there and sign, but I think the damage has been done, and a lot of, and someone nipeni biaka, providing ammunition and cannon fodder for our opponents in the 2028 election. Timide me 2 party for no for. Say omupe enkaboma, omuntu abanama kwabna Japan. Me nami what is my kaka say Debbie. My deep press secretary to president. For what is say ebomi tapes. Now saying the last week the me tapes be able my city or home because yeah me cry na me bo and someone me cancel no correct. I wanted to correct a correct record of our history because the binum nam near can someone in him because I'm say electorate you know over 65% here less than 40 near money is no money ho it is a mimico TV so na ebusa me asem na me respond a go say Dr. Baumia Crawford use tape bi.
Me hu ba ku bi.
Kennedy Japan Crawford so use tape bi. Ni nyina kyerɛ sɛ kwabena Japan o ka no kre.
Me hu ba ku bi ne ɛsɛ o se Dr. Baumia de bi na me hu ye sɛ o se ono nye party member na process sɛ so famua so tumi be nya card no kra no.
Man kasa eja kwabena tape no wo. Oyiripa TV. Ɛna Abrante Nbuzans na kwabena mu nyina mo contest. Say yanto aba ama Dr. Baumia na kyerɛ sɛ MPP mo ya amena ayɛ sɛ mo mpesirimfo ate asɛm saa no kan yo na ne ye use no adompo no na me menua men kasa da na Dr. Baumia de party no ne na di ne yie obedi vice president position keto a ye use adompo na 2008 sebi candidate Akufo-Addo Edene Banokran, the whole National Council had to waive the 5-year rule out of respect for candidate Akufo-Addo. Until the first day we were party straight to number 2. Na party yes ama na eyuzu adampo. Until eno de mo nkasada. Now we vice president Kwana say o end your career as vice president. That's all Denyamia say it's a big position. It's just number 2. You're a heartbeat away from being the president. Asemo ameka ene. Tape no eja kwabena we meka asema did attempt. I'm stating the facts that happened because that National Council meeting in Aliza Hotel, side decision was taken. I was seated there. I was there. So who dem ichi. Enti enokre na meka. Ukofa yisusu na Kennedy Japan susu meka say sika bi ni nsem bia no mo kika no so me respond here. No so na we must support so atuagum. I'm saying, well, say nipa kind of crow be to me fall on you because what I stated was a fact. It was never an attack on anybody. Me attacking Crawford.
Yeah, share and chemo kokotoaba. Na bato no ye gina bibi so na obi dia akasem se enradi si ye ni ntino o chena se me ko ba bia me no kwa mefa so be ko nafa. 2028 aba beto no eno ene mobotae.
That's right.
Sembo to me agi to me. Yan share mo track record ne ma hodo e wo ho o mampenda da agi ekufuo eko no. Na nando dan Akufo-Addo ejina mampenda da agi ekufuo ne niema oye yeso. Ena ode ebo da wuru se ye de manwa o wa beto aso. Yan share bro ba ye de ono so abeye na oko no. Di amo samba beto aso no se ko ba Ghana foto abama mo a eye de nanado dan Akufo-Addo aban so amamu ye fie nwotwe di ono de Akufo de ye no mo betum de ono so de na aye 2020 se ko Ghana foto abamamu a
se utie me e dano am ye policy day.
Yes, beba hopa.
I say it is time for us to usher in a new dawn, a new dimension and a new direction. Yes, there were a lot of good things that happened in the last 8 years. But it is the pain and nipakai. It's a fact. All over the world, because of the crunch, economic crunch, COVID, international wars, petroleum prices went through the roof for $120. Banking crisis. To the extent that even in 2022, so kaya, I said openly, Senka President Binya ka onsesa womo manage the economy of this country. Now wanye ne sa obe endanger your chances of victory. Krofo binu frame didi matter. But I was speaking from the bottom of my heart. Say me de menina ye adwuma masom ne da. Me fansa na kola anime. Ti asema meka na koma pa. Efutuo pa because economic management there ade bi obroni friend say enye quantifiable. Your friend business confidence. So enti ekoban say nipa na run the economy nso no. He was a player in that economy even before he became minister. Nti esa ne competitors ni nyina ya na omunye happy. Nti ekoba ansam se da bi ka obinya manse samra. That was in June. 6 months down the line, and sana 88 MPs who say the cabinet Japan Kayan about home. So what them say? May can say who say the time has come not only for our party but the country to recalibrate our thinking. We need a mindset revolution. Maybe I'm in revolution to be so engineering word, recalibration of our mindset. So, because Ghana have from 1983 called IMF after PNDC, Structural Adjustment Program, SAP 1, SAP 2, DND, FinSAP, economic models, here pick, PAMSCAD, FinSAP, Metima Bubudia. And so baby. So it is not the models. It is a lack of enforcement and implementation of what is right for this country. Then also the political will and political leadership. In Ghana, we don't talk about leadership enough. We don't. And if you say, oh, we have to campaign on this record, baby, I drew as a country. We need a dramatic shift, a seismic shift. So, and to make catch the party phone, say Ghana for Benyajide we moi. I'm the only one who was not part of government in the last 8 years. To say them can't hear before be or at least one woman performance papa no cry the jack not in chain. Inti the Ebenya Ebe said okay on the bio baby be different am I. Na Ubia Papa onisu na say usi efejo atwa na de nipa na papa onisu na ekejo atwa no enyi intimi de futuo and a Me Too party. So they have an opportunity, and that's why I believe I'm the most viable option. Viable option. My record under Kufuor was without blemish. Enti almost sumamia. Metime jina Ghana for enim akasa kyerɛ mrantie no. Still so mojamono no kakra wom. Nyini kakra de so. I still have the vitality, the energy to connect with the youth and the charisma to earn the respect and the believe and the trust of Ghanaians. Because the young leaders a bit me akasama Ghana for ato makoma so and inspire them say look despite say near me den a bit my ni say who are bem I will catch the Ghana for say tighten your belt. Now one who say would they won't teach you should tighten yours even harder. That's leading by example. And maybe me feel say right now no, what is important is for the party to have a fresh lease of life. And I think I offer that. And no, Kobanasa, the issues of what has happened, no, Ebeko from Kakra. And they will be able to tell the Ghanaian people, say, Yenina, collectively. Because, Ghana for so, we're from so many enablers. We, the people, are the problem, not the constitution. We, the people. What the memo post is here. Nipa be tu afa wo ho honorable ene wan timi ensi dan ene wan nye sei ne poison wadwi me wa bam na me si mi dan that Nyankopon hira me ma through my engineering consultancy. I had built my own house in East Legon in 1999 inti e ba bam 2000 ho na me try okay say I'm Roberts bi kra ba in July. Man, Mr. Francis Poku, National Security for Bay Assessment, so whole Mimra Metra can do mess. Over the Miko, Missy Metra Mifi. Because of things I had experienced in the past. Hona Mian, I'm de, my new 50 Yankopon Sham Hona Mentra. A Hosuna Metisi, me peso. I'm content with what I have. In the 6 years, no, commit me a the Encrophobia. Built up my real estate. And I say, I've been against the sale of state lands. Papa, don't be. Me, man, Kobusa be cried than a mini. And then a year time, I was against it, and I made it known to people then when I was in government. Said, yeah, you know, I don't think it is good. Rollins Moon started. They say, redemarcation, rezoning of rage. No much you try, no much I'm on. Musum be bonk foot you. So, Makoji loan. Ghana for Drew baby and Pessi cannot cry. And these same people started this policy. Yeah, by I say stop what they know. na ebinom pe bi nti na omaye, and governments after governments have followed it. And now do Accra, yes, I have. It's a beautiful skyline. Oko cantonments, Ridge, Laboni, airport, apartments, ni high rises. Nenso so. Se sanso ase no. Yanton amaye ho for people with political connections. Tomo omu cheap. Adekye no aton ama Turkish ni be $7 million. What for difference? No? That money should have been equity for the Ghanaian people. To show big real estate projects akwe. And then you retain even 8% as our land equity, or 15% depending on the size of the project. If you consolidate all that, Ghana would have been worth more than 20 billion in these projects in Accra alone. And so that from IMF say 3 billion. And Tinina is the leadership, is the foresight, and is the vision. Said the open soil. So now koya na binume kwabrade oba o me nidi ni ade me nka se me obi eridi. Nanso so let's do it the right way.
Ben a obi a benya bi edi.
Let's do it the right way. Me dem feel say Ghana ha na ete ha ni duru baby. U shop kra na banks for the loan. HSU. Until if you get the basics right, say wo pussy girl, say wo hamle, say wo brewani asio, enche, half a sini, aflao, all parts of Ghana. So we a carpenter ni, so we a painter, so we a fisherman, so we a farmer. The nyankopon die duemu, your God-given potential. You have a good opportunity to realize it. And to be the demonstrate Ghana for, let's stop accepting mediocrity. Oh my no, what can say empadipa? And ye may fatane ye bufaso. And no be any sika, we don't even know the source of it. Then Crofona boss near the media for who didn't birthday near the cameras in the bedroom, gold bears near the. What kind of people have we become? Very materialistic. And also in February, called Japan, called Europe. After the World War, they needed public spirited leaders. The whole place was in ashes. In 80 years, built it back up. With the required leadership, public spirited say, yeah, idea for our collegial mentality and the welfare of the totality of society. Say your dreams are Ghana for subeti. Ghana for law abiding and some hell. Who say who did it and nobody did it. Yeah. San omote. Ti wo mo eti lands commission na year. Who be minister na America so and say be da ha. E beti nya 2 amount. When he je ho no maton 10. And that's what is happening. And we need to restore meritocracy and professionalism back to our public services. It's one of my 6-point plan for Ghana. Because BBI and politics. Instead of bringing the surveyors, the planners, the engineers to come and defend the thing and state why they've not been able to advise the political class to do the right thing. Yeah. No dampening on politicians. We krum hanti enam hai ni papa muni. Ikrum hai fino. Me can say with respect to the people in it. But anajuso pa tuka ajakob. Na drive. Kukun kaka. Sharks.
Yeah.
In fact, the last housing survey, if my memory serves me right, over 21% of all dwellings. Sharks. How can we live like that? And if we are saying livelihood, say we see now krum say baby say Toronto ameniji ho say unemployment figure wo ani so interest rate wo ani so inflation dey obe hu say a very well laid environment fair ho say ye ma onye billboards Ghana billboards are scatter enyama o drive kra hu anim so person o billboard because they use grass very green city beautiful well laid out lawns well manicured. Now, the district assemblies are failing the country. The whole local government system is a systemic failure. Admit it. Mayor Institution of Engineering, executive director, from 2018 to about 2022-21. Mayor audit of the works departments of these assemblies. Out of 260, only about 18 and a registered engineers were.
Hey.
Obi a health officer across a works engineer. Enti omu beden until the whole country has now become a chaotic slum settlement. Uti Accra, which is the capital. So ufa akwete mahaya. Bohung drains daho. Pipelines, water supply pipelines. Let the drain they are clip it to the side. Hey, what happened to our training in school? Oh, yeah, training before an area, you develop an area, it has to be declared a planned area. Yeah. These are the laws in Ghana. I'm running now. Say a planning scheme. And can say a higher recreational park. A higher say the components of the ecosystem that needs for human sustainability. Yeah, nipa nkwane TV ase nyankopon oboye no na Garden of Eden wansa na osuma Adam no abonu ya dada ye ba na etwetwa nu egusa. Me, I did environmental engineering as my postgraduate in the University of Surrey in the UK. Enti I am very passionate about say obi twedua for no reason, because eno so na ma nipa oxygen aye home. So yeah, produce carbon dioxide no more produce oxygen in their mind. We have to have a certain wide range. A bit me who say society no. If we are secret better, it didn't need here. A nipa abrabone ya sitting. That is the most important thing. And to say a livelihood ninya, the baby who nimfaso. And the way I ask, Intina, urban regeneration and rural renewal is one of my 6-point plan.
That's 6-point plan.
So, and be the first one, if you see here, Kesibo Ghana has to say, is land reform, land administration reform. We've thrown hundreds of millions of dollars, the UN money, World Bank money. Me who there emphasize there ba. Enra, was it Enra? 2 days ago, na me deliver me policy speech. Me call studio, me see me check it graphica headline. Me am question, me am question. And I'm doing speech come on in advance. Now me plan say me the be ma so me refi man fanko. 98% of lands in Ghana cannot be titled. I don't know so where. Now, say if you don't have a land title, then you don't have anything.
Yeah.
Because land title can unlock capital. It is money. So, and I want to create wealth for Ghanaian families using their land titles. Because I'm a press secretary to President Penny Free South America by a friend Professor De Soto. He brought that message. Say South America and no they are rural farmers. So a farmer now would the title na say atakwame kra so it has a certain value.
Okay.
You can go to the bank and get some 20-30% of it. Now they are bit beautiful. And I say we are into a processing of agro you can use it to buy a new processing plant. Now the age and they create jobs. And this corruption na a cost lands administration. So we want to assess every the real owners of the land. We want to do lands commission.
You be there also.
We better yes, will be a title what the whole area now the no crack on. We be judgment yes muni expunge that and so we call lands commission so yeah to me expunge. The chance I was court to be yeah my judgment say
and that also means to be it's in my process and that's new
so altogether. If you go to the courts close to what some say 35,000 others say 40,000 land cases choking the court system. The judiciary has tried to create land costs still. It's a backlog of it be the 20 years adia ka be na investments say ba ninyina until we need a drastic proposal. Nti eno de nyankopon ye madom number president ye ni stakeholders betness ni ahwe how we can improve land administration eno ka ho na ama galamsey ni ade because people don't feel a sense of ownership of the land. See who say go do hope no beating crime minerals commission no bureaucrat obiting crime forestry commission no bureaucrat no dia ma obi China ni hwan no abowura
kwai
yeah ti kwai na ye dia ye mu ya bonfi ye musa ehu Yes, I am benefiting from it. And the youth in those areas have become depressed because whilst they were promised prosperity, mining, the 100 years of mining in this country, maybe I'm anti-mining or Macan because it doesn't help Africa at all. Abrofuna betra ko dia Congo kra da reho. Wo ma fa territory because wo mo ade na ya airstrip o betuni eko no more local militias ni create. And we leaders of Africa are looking on unconcerned because of some peanuts on beto atuye tables. Intermediate, I want to lead with the passion, and that passion, that strong passion for the transformation of Ghana. And nuntina me yes adi na meka hono kre, even if it's going to cost me the vote. Me ma catch the party for no. Omo ndi omo hono kre na mu kodi sikechi. Sika de ye obi anka se sika ye. Na so 1,000 cedis, 500 cedis. And sisa wo shebre da. But a good leader who has a vision, who has a good heart and clear vision for the country can transform this country in a matter of 2, 3, 4 years. Simple things, a big creative jobs. We don't even have a maintenance culture. Why is it that governments come into office, create new projects, when they are uncompleted road projects? Go around the country. I've just traveled around the country. You won't go any 20, 30 kilometers away from every home. Various levels of completion. The same with hospitals. Ade. Me kind 2022 say it's a good policy to have agenda 111, but it should have been done in a phased manner. Nti bia first 20 we are commission na nkrofo use no mu se mfaso ye catch so another 20 bi ba na ye ne kakraka. You go and take all the 111 at the same time. At the time, and there was economic crunch. That for me was not the prudent decision. So, Ghana Hano, yes, a building new politician, yes, Timmy Kano Kreno, and Kobane say, a cano, any diem, any boom. Yes, be about betrayal, say, EDD president attempt. And now, when there's a failure of policy, it does not constitute corruption. If you have policy, no, a failure. Human beings are allowed to fail.
Sure.
So them sure nti you say na bibia na ascribing to corruption. You can even be a poor manager because you are managing and don't just say you are a criminal. There's a difference. There is a difference. Although there's also criminal negligence, but there's a difference. And to me who say bibia anyi ya, let's just say a corruption.
Yan share maybe your man you was say what can be say we are sense
yeah.
Near my corner nim. It's AI crabber.
And we be them say enthusiasm.
It will be a baby, I know a abe for quine. Yes, Ghana for general your mentality. Or say the air near my home. Say, I didn't ya crana so car. It's say a year ama politics in tea. I need refi say, yes, ye or mine. I didn't wo ye, now we ye.
Yeah.
So I didn't ya so car. Na ya de wako bata party A, party B, na party 4 to other party. Ya be then in your leadership, no you decide necessary that your mentality as Ghanaians no. I say ko say Jesus no, na say na me ni ho.
Enu nti na make am, nti e betimi aye. Say me na me press secretary.
Yeah.
Now we correspondent.
Sure.
Ewo castle. Wouldn't be where me ye medjuma. So, me dey we as pepeye. I want to be remembered as a politician or person nema edidane kwem. Sementimi an succeed kra ansa na Nyankopon we frame. Nyankopon nim se makomam me ye die metumi. Ankwanoma me nyuma me pen no. That lumba. Me dem ho ba for my ye die metumi. Anye ye at least you've tried. But me ntran kamena mo so a me ye se me try. Enti me come what ya say. On mine no one yeda anono as leaders no. We have to lead by example, not by word of mouth, but by deed. So, enti eno na bema enchirima na hu se ai mpanimfo yi we de omatu ho ache nyisi ka bi na ombe fom. Say them come say mom hu se yesom yemfom. Na say mi hu bibi. I hope it is not true, but minim se wahu young man here o gold body.
Sami
yes so I check cars and they are communication directors be na am say 10 months here when you scout to me talk pickups at the chiche party communication directors I didn't know all of a sudden nkrofo kwa benwa na ayese wo ma be esikafo. And if we the political leaders and the politicians don't talk about it, why never can one say obi to Ghana on charge da okoye minister afede na on e charge oyesi my foundation unhu kwan faso sa suban no. We've got to put a stop to it, and President of Japan will put a stop to it. You cannot use your position for personal profit and now say use the influence that you have, no, for your own personal aggrandizement. So, enti idea ha o mine. Now, media, I believe in fiscal discipline. Say, uti hey sika ye de ma wono, and now has to be high dine dididie. Untimi nko bobosia say wo de koye abenkwan no atokon beef edi aka ho. Ubewu no na eka edawochi. And what has to change is that we have to stop running a budget deficit. Nti emrena so say hwe Ghana fo anim. Say minuanum mas mami as president. Me hwe oman no sisi a roads e wa edoso pa. It is the state of it na enye. Ti I'm not going to do any new roads, but I'm going to maintain. Ghana has the best density of road network in Africa. Ghana baby na wo kwa ekwan ni ho connective. Ibi akwan no nye, but ekwan wo ho. So with them children. And we need to institutionalize a maintenance culture. Baby ani esi bibi foforo. Uko hospitals are simple cleaning. Ura ho kra sebi yo. Mesre meka. The befa ohim kra no ha be ma yare no kra. Aye wes. And so antisa it shouldn't be like that. Architecture okay say a friend is technology assessor. Ye mu de ede nyame ase o because de ye hu ye papa no mo hu. Say papa no sorry say on bobo dam o mo hu. TV etikopoi eno na ye hwe. That time we be so free bu abuja say ko gina office 3 days asa na o ma wan yen sa say ya ene me fa me phone mitimi hu wanim direct just by a video WhatsApp call. If we are say assessant, then so as assessant for the better. But of course, all these things, you know, are on the downside. Yeah. So the AI, any a friend is saying internet, if you don't so did some money, are affecting because where they say a formal TV station. Obia when if you to me station, or so a station, and some more can because someone you're Ghana for. Timi twatro dim penimfo ne ahemfo atem ken semwa you cannot repeat, but because you say adefofro sa na yema ni nyina we've got to put a handle on it and find a way of restoring order and discipline and making sure that we enforce regulations. So compliance, we have to enforce compliance on public projects. The engineers a friend of quality control and quality assurance. And no the say this will bomb colleagues, engineers and architects. So mon koye kanana and the contractors enye jurum kitasise na ejuma ese ye di sika ye invest in road within 3 years na addition. So and nobody gets punished in this country. And somebody say akochi Chinese if we akochi nkrofo bi wo ewuram de ende de no mai of China or they who's a good one. Why the man the license? What is here punishing will be a minerals commission and now forestry commission. No business sign. In Ghana Hano, we don't want to punish at the top. Nancy and Coley said DNA so mukope juma. Munim semu penipa 4,000. Why do you open it up to about say 20,000 or 30,000? No more be good work. Nipa ashiro mukwa. What is a minister now accepting responsibility? And as a CDS are punishing, and as no more accepting responsibility. And as a soldier for now, whoever did it, who did it? There was somebody who was in charge, who mismanaged the process, and that cost lives. Now, maybe a president, there will be a drastic penalty regime. for some of these infringements, to make sure say we are the wrong thing, you get punished for it. Punished at the top the next time. Who say IGPO na who say me you a dear. The them didn't be bano. We who say, hey, my friend Uncle Anna and the right thing. Assemble your money be so many be so. That is what we have to do as a country. And that's how Adekye Japan intends to lead this country as president, if given the nod. Intermediate, adwenkyerɛ nti enkabom ne nneɛma pa ne yɛbɛkae sɛ national interest no ɛno na ɛsɛ emano edi enim Jacob na.
Kojo Forest said this man is speaking the truth. MPP people don't like this. This otherwise they will stone you. But Ghana, we need a good president like JDM and Adekye Japan. So you have to join the greatest party forever, and you will achieve your dream to the good people of Ghana. You know, just say, "I say, baby, I want to whenever NDC or the Oba, when someone can know the media to know what Haman wants to be." And it's in here. Sorry,
that's right.
I did now. What dream? Would you say, young friends, Abayanama to first year in Muhammad's administration? Who near my saying, and then also say somewhere here, and Kauna Waka, then I can
Media, a dear Bakwa, a year me, ya. And they say, see, what was such big goodwill? Because Ghana, to Obama, one also the gap on 1.7 million or so. Fantastic goodwill. Utia. What's the only excuse to be here? What the deputy minister? What the minister? What the vice president? What be the Professor Mills president 6 months a man? What about first term near Sikufi? And what's about second term? So you've got all the experience. You've seen all the mistakes of the past. You can't possibly. So enipa. Eniema ye campaign na omo kekan ya na mfuse be a political talk. Waba. We still be Chief Justice. This is one of the 3 legs of democracy: the executive, parliament, and the judiciary. Parliament is executive there 4 years, be 2 years over. Judiciary is the last bastion. You go and seek refuge there. And we don't need to politicize that. So that single action, to remove a chief justice without any justification, no cause. So, hey, is this a serious enough grave error to remove one of the pillars of governance in our country? I think that was a deliberate assault on the judiciary, and it is calculated. So, na nka uo abontin we say Supreme Court no nanado packing court. Nanado there, to give him his due. Man, who does say vacancy bad no replace it. Me my family this, my say me I believe in a cap of 11 for the Supreme Court. Say me nanado na me president vacancy bad coming for being count till I get to 11. So them children, because name bibia ni here say with the constitution be you the president can take action. Say na upa say na me no. So na my fa kwan bi so the number 2 when you say hwinim and you still went ahead. What suspended judicial what message were you saying? Sending the country. For me, that is the biggest downside of his administration. For me, that is the most important thing. And because a governance system, yansesano near depoliticize the state machinery. And what say, Matisse, chairperson of the electoral commission, so petitions be started. Abase ono so yenyino. We so idea omukan. So for me, the legacy that he is leaving is not a good one. Okay. So them sure, of course, economically be a na third city 14 cities. Ye free so no. Say aba to between 10 and 12, which is a good thing. I think a country like Ghana, and I've said this in 2022, said there should have been state intervention during the Akufo-Addo's time to make sure that we don't pay more than 5 cedis to $1. All currencies are backed by gold. And a country that produces so much gold cannot have a weak currency. But I said it. say once you can cater for the critical sectors of the economy, to say crude oil, any drugs, medicines. So we person cry, and we have the money to give you, and we'll give it to you at 5 cedis. Black market for me now.
Brother.
Collapse. So $1 because the dollar then became an investment tool. Obi o hia dollar. O se onum se be cost renti no. No akosi san. No dey ato e cost na onyeska. So, and by doing so no na depressing the city the more. Then say abanya kukudro ka say look, we can back the demand with our supply of dollars for especially these two critical sectors of the economy. Because with fuel, the unya companies no almost fix it, almost price at the pumper. They will use the 5 cedis. Edru baby, they were using 18 cedis because they were predicting say Ebeka could do 18 and could do other. Meanwhile, they were making more money off us.
Yeah.
So of them, John. And these are things as a buying. Yes, we believe in free liberal democracy and whatever we want to say, but there's a stake in certain key utilities like water and electricity. So, and I know there, I can say this 1 year, me share near my beginning crowd and then you can see there, near Buran Krofufi na soldier for just okay say, yeah, cool Ghana has it. So, and I think that has changed, and it's going on. And me, naturally, I'm one of those who feel say, ye to abakra, ye ma honeymoon kakra. Ma kasa se mu dagada. Ye to abawi the next day na NDC nitia, MPP nitia, musu media no muka. Say 1 year cry the Kenya say, yeah, you can take notes of what they are doing. Like I've taken mental notes of what he's doing. I'm not even in the mood I feel I'm no because let them get their feet under the table. After 2 years, in the 3rd year, no, then you can start assessing and holding their feet to the fire, so that at the end of the term, 4 years, Ghanaians can make an informed position. Me can such a party for you be na am so mon timase. Say ulusu elections are in such an abysmal manner. Now some better TV so be we are Ghana for Christ and now we show Mabufu the more. Until we should take a mental note of all that is happening at the appropriate time. When we have a full campaign machinery in place, we have a flag bearer in place, and an economic team to back him, and we have to do the thinking now. Ghana, a politics now. There is no think tank. Mr. Akufo can't say same way. Say me be flag bearer and me maduma. Immediately I have nipa be 6, 7. I want to put them together. Say what are the 4 priorities? Because we cannot be jack of all trades and master of none. So them sure. Now, Enema, especially dealing with what I think is a national security situation, the unemployment situation in the country. How do we, which sectors can absorb? Because in the factories, machinery, but the hospitality sector is an area we can look at. A fenipa. One more year, Juma is a chamber maid, so. One more a year carpenter, for 1 more a year maintenance, 1 more a year cooks, 1 more a year barmen, all that kind of thing. And I think we have a 500-kilometer shoreline littered with historic castles. By now, it will be one of the serious things of my presidency to make sure that we can tell a story. Me, I do a big bus company tour. Tibabia makubia, now fekeke wote ho uduru hayo kasi haye sajinda jitemo in a Castle Junction we die na wahi uko Jamestown is a British Accra Hannah Nelson for no free Brazil tina bu hu akokoko for Jamestown lighthouse is in 18 BBB. You know, you've got to develop a story around your history. In Ghana, we don't even have heritage buildings. Me ko Kumasi na say me real we on survey department de Kumasi. Na ewo Bank of Ghana. So unim ho court complex next door. Who say titibia.
Dan that.
Oh, yeah bu and a car park. And I'm saying, we don't even appreciate our history.
Bank of Ghana and Chen ho. Otu so the bricks anu e din pa na ye.
fancy.
Yeah.
TSIS, you have to preserve it and create a story around it. To be back Ghana now, but me a man tourist guide. Now they do airport crowd. There's nothing there to show. Say, koha, koyese. And so we drew Londoner. We drew her na. Oh, police in Nigeria. No, I see the picture. No, I catch you to Trafalgar Square. Koha, koyese. You know, even the taxis. I mean, I remember when I went to Tokyo. What the taxi man? Educated taxi drivers. I'm the bachelor. Say, aha, tourist attraction. Ya koha, ya koha museum way. Ya koyese. Yeah, taxi for crying to me mobilize in Shentare, Papa. So all these things are, it is eating at the very fabric of our country. Until we need a mindset change, a drastic enforcement of discipline, and a departure from the past. We need a seismic shift. We need to do that. And the Nyankopon madam na minya sa akonya na
obehwe ayo. Nasco fufu se kwabra Japan it's good to lead the MPP, but he can't pay delegates to vote for him as others would. Yeah, sorry. What's the way to try my delegates answer?
They will not make a mesre or mose or mine dachi, womu, emma dachi. It's not about what they can get. It is our momentary monetary gain. Say, Obia Bremiska and Tieno. Maybe as we discover what say, oh, that's all. And no says o kotoaba oni na eso otomano scan ya be sure botuma wo dia. I discourage the monetization of politics. So omo hu say adwuma na omo kudi na adwuma soronka baby a party ni gina sese na omo nim say enye entokwa abemu ne adidi atem ne kasa emfata. So omo betimi take decision say omo yi nipa nyina asinche no mato aba ama kobna Japan. Because I can become the glue to hold together the party. Because meaning the only person I masum edubu ahene, masum Kufo, masum Kufuado, masum Baumia. Inti se me kasa beti me ka party na boma. Enye man no keke. Na America, I'm the very embodiment of unity and hard work, selfless sacrifice to this political tradition. This is the okay. Me ye General Secretary on suspension grant. We mobilize this car. They could support to party. Dimi the party na meso. Mr. Nyankopon. Sa asema me no mo ken. Nyankopon ka o mo akoma. Na mo nto aba no. Nyankopon so ahihye nfefefe 2000. Ye kwoto aba sunsun papa bi e baaye be share man panin kufo na ye hihye ballot no ase ho. Ene so ne backup na Japan otetere no castle. Ye hihye ballot yiso no. Me da ase ho. Nti emre ni zo ahwe onsem a was a high five, me da number 5. No team ho ase ho. High five ase ho. High five ase ho. Eno ana eko party for no so aso. Nti me da wase se wa mame o platform ine na metimi achirechire me nsemu.
Me da se senior me da se papa o se Kennedy Ekompreko Japan and Kwabranje Japan combination will win power for MPP in 2028. And see yene engineer Kwabranje Japan di nkomo na no pay o se order number 5 wo abato homa no so o chinechi na wotwe na number 2 about delegates we de be shere ma ne kasa se de be ya de woni mu no oka ama mansan etumi etie enti se to waso mu a wonim ye koso party ni mu no waka bibi se be bia attendidie ne kasantwie na duro no aboro so ti se enye obi obetumi aboa ma womo eko no wanka omo amumu a na so omo ekasetia no wanka omo bo neutral person bi ambeka mumu a ebe wi asebe den pa sanse onkrofo horome pa ti so onkrofo horome wanka bibia na se ne wo ne de ama wa wo fremi amema enti ye hwe peace park no besan da be ne ya wo hu ntu fi awoko wish you well what it
and then one moment advert and the memo na we dey wabo
producers we dey mama be senior answer na I think so ebe wo ho ti se wo kokora na mebo
mate eja fa na we da si
o da bi o say o advert bi man ke say
na me gina ho na me lunch me
short 30 seconds okay bra no lunch in 6 point what dey buy
okay yes I bet me dey analysis
you be di hu juma answer na juma di na ko nti e bada sipi na no pay nti na Kwabranje Japan e na oba me di nkomo na no pay nti delegate wo dey masumu a mo na munim de sese moto aba no ma no no kire se obetumi aboa yes some of us minimum for very long time na me na adwuma so ache pa minimum no do betumi aye won so menye delegate nti wo choose do betumi aboa mo na mo di nkodim 2028 eye mo a masemo a ye de besie ne atwa ho aba ye koba abadwafo betena se na fe ye di nkomo nti mo ntwan ye